Hi everybody, it's Colleen Pearl, the Cool Crone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be doing a few readings today, but first I just want to start by saying I don't think we need to do much of a reading on the blow-up at the White House between Trump, Vance, and Zelensky. We get this headline: Zelensky flooded with messages of support from world leaders after Trump meeting. Their fight is our fight. Okay, so the EU is going to step up. They're already doing separate peace talks with, including Zelensky, by the way, and they intend to take the results of their peace talks and their strategies and plans back to the U.S. anyway, to see if they can't involve the U.S. because the U.S. was trying to broker a peace between Russia and Ukraine, or so they said. So we'll see over the next few days and weeks if they really do go back to the U.S., because I think things are going to change. The first thing that I want to look at today is it's the New York City mayor situation. And I want to just do a quick reading on whether or not Mayor Adams will resign before the next election in New York, which is slated for November of this year. Now, they'll have primaries in June, so, I mean, the writing could be on the wall as soon as the primary if he is primaried out and isn't even in the running, which I'm assuming he will be primaried out because New Yorkers are pretty mad about what he's done. But I'd like to also bring in the added little interesting tidbit that Andrew Cuomo is intimating that he is going to throw his hat in the ring as another potential candidate for the New York City mayor spot. Interesting, as he used to be the governor of the whole state. You don't usually see that progression, but politics makes strange bedfellows, so I guess anything's possible. And also Cuomo had a real bad come down at the hands of T-Rump, I might add, with some sort of sexual scandal, the whole subject. But I'd like to do a reading to see if he is actually going to be able to get his hat in the ring, withstand the primaries, and be elected mayor. Now, there's also the chance that Governor Hochul could ask Mayor Adams to step down, and if she does, then of course another mayor has to be brought in, and at that point she could bring in Andrew Cuomo if she likes him, and I don't think she likes him. I think she replaced him, but she might like him, I don't know. And so Cuomo, if he took that position as a, and it doesn't necessarily have to be him, I'm just saying him because he's the loudest and proudest at the moment. He's out there in the headlines. So whoever takes the reins from Adams, if it's before the actual primaries and election, will have a short run. That's what all the headlines are saying, that it's probably not even worth it because it's such a short period of time. Okay, so let's lay out the cards, and I'll be right back with a reading on first Adams' point of view. Is he going to step down or not? Okay, so I have the cards laid out, and I moved my little puss down here so that I'm not covering up any of the cards. And boy, this reading I think is pretty clear. First of all, what hopped out of the cards? The King of Pentacles. I could hold it up here too. Look, oh, I'm so cool. It's a better picture up there because you see it bigger. The King of Pentacles hopped out of the deck. So I'm thinking that, that's his connection to Trump. He is very much in the pocket of Trump, and no matter how he tries to deny it, I just think it's really obvious that he's in his pocket and he's doing his bidding. But let's look at the way the cards laid out, which I thought was very interesting. So we have the Queen of Swords. Now the Queen of Swords on this deck looks like Kathy Hochul. Does she not? Yes, she does. She looks like Kathy Hochul. And what crosses that is the Nine of Cups, this person just having a gay old time. So I'm thinking that this is Adams, enjoying himself. That's his cross. That's why he's not succeeding, is because he is partying too much. And Kathy Hochul, I think, is going to bring the sword of justice down on him. So I'm pretty sure that she eventually is going to ask him to step down. But I think she's waiting for things to reach such a point, either with protesting from the public or that he's going to do something else that really looks bad, and then it'll be a no-brainer. But she's looking at public support too. She doesn't want to be vilified in the eyes of the public either. So she wants to do everything kind of by the book, but also she wants a big public support behind her before she makes that choice. That has always been my hunch. And that, that's not, saying anything bad about her as a politician, but she does have to think about that. I believe she's only in her first term, and she's probably going to have to run for re-election. So let's check that. Yes, so Kathy Hochul can run for governor again, and it's a little bit of a complex situation. Cuomo and Hochul were reelected in 2018, but Hochul took over as governor of New York on August 24th, 2021, after Cuomo resigned amid the sexual harassment allegations. Then she ran and won a full term in 2022 against Lee Zeldin, and it was the narrowest New York gubernatorial election since 1994. However, she is the first woman to become governor of New York. And even though she did those couple of years after Cuomo resigned, she is still eligible to run again in 2026, and she has stated her intention to do so. So yeah, she's looking for public support. She doesn't want to sully her reputation in the eyes of the public by doing something emotional, right? Like, I'm going to fire that guy because he did so many bad things. She's very cognizant of that as a female, because we've heard her speak about feminism a lot, especially since the Roe v. Wade decision was overturned. Now, at the base of the matter for Adams, getting back to him, we have the Hermit. So he is not feeling terrifically supported by Mr. T, and no big surprise. We know that he is not a loyal kind of person. So, Adams feels like he's just spitting into the wind. He's just like, a ship without a rudder. He doesn't really have anything going on for him. And so he's worried. Now, in the past, he has the Nine of Pentacles, which is a sweet card to come along with the Nine of Cups. However, in his case, it's not doing him any favors. Flaunting any kind of wealth or gifts that he got at the hands of either the Red Country or T. Rump is just stupid. And that's probably why he got brought down. Crowning him is the Nine of Swords. So, yeah, he's, not sleeping well. He's not having a good time. And as I stated before, I'm pretty sure that Hochul is going to ask him to tell him to step down at some point. And in his future, what we see is Ten of Wands, because, of course, if he steps down, those charges come back to haunt him, and he's going to go back to court. What is he hoping for? Can't we just go back to the way it was? That's what the Six of Cups tells us. He just has a very rosy vision of the future, and the poor guy is just like, wait, where's Donald Trump when I need him? Oh, nowhere? Thank you. Can we just, rewind the script a little bit? Well, no, that's not going to happen. What do other people think is going on in this situation? Well, that the hammer is just going to come down and hit him on the head, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And I love that recently all the Ace of Wands cards for me are just, I know it's supposed to be a wand, but for me it's just Fred Flintstone's club, as Lena Rodriguez says. And to me, I just see that club being just smashed down on his head, on anybody's head, to teach him a lesson. Now, what is coming? What is he hoping for? I think he wants to get out of Dodge. I think Adams will make a quick trip elsewhere. He might not go out of the United States. I mean, he might go to like Puerto Rico or something and just lay low. Like, he's not gonna stick around New York because he's just got too much bad blood. And, maybe there's a place in the T. Rump cabinet for him. The final outcome card is very, very telling. It is the Empress. And what does this tell me? That Russia is waiting for him. Russia would like to use him as an asset. Even though T. Rump is not very amenable to his pleas and his requests at this moment, Mr. Putin is. So, very interesting there. So, poor Mr. Adams is going to be ousted out of the office. I mean, they could wait until May 31st and do it right before the June primaries, but they're not going to let him sit in that office all of 2025. They're definitely going to get rid of him, and that's going to be at the hands of the governor, Kathy Hochul. There she be. And I think that card looks like her, so I'm saying it with a fair amount of confidence. All right, so let's move on to the next reading, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this reading is talking about, will the EU bring their information back to the US, as they said in that headline, that they were going to support Ukraine financially and with arms, so that they could involve Putin through Donald Trump. Got a message from my guides that that isn't going to be able to happen because of timing, because of many things. So let's look and see what the cards say. So what we have in the cards here is the Two of Pentacles crossed by the Devil. So the Two of Pentacles, of course, is money changing hands, money issues, things going back and forth. So basically this is Zelensky's need for money and the EU giving the money. And you can see the ship in the background, so this has to do with things overseas, right? But it's being crossed by the Devil. And the Devil is both Putin and Trump. So we have them on their side, so they're not as advantaged as they think they were. When the Devil, or any card, is the crossing card, it isn't fully empowered. It isn't the worst thing, right? They're not full strength, in other words. So Trumpy and Putin are not able to really stop this process, and that's what they would like to do. They would like the world to believe that they are all powerful and that the rest of the world is at a disadvantage, and that, you know, they can do nothing to prevent this. But that's not really the case. Now, in the background, there is a lot of contention and a lot of negotiations going on. But remember, for the Five of Swords, this looks like people are fighting, but they're really not. It's actually kind of like choreographed fighting or stage play. In other words, negotiations, which is what diplomacy is all about. So the EU is the group that at the base is really, they're plotting out all the scenarios. They're trying to figure out every which way that they can support Ukraine, but also every scenario where they might be thwarted or hurt by Russia and the US, by the way. So they're trying to play out all the different scenarios. So they're not going to have this agreement in 24 hours, I don't think, because it's going to take them a minute to go through all of those different scenarios and figure out what they need or want. And in the meantime, things are also changing on the United States stage as far as Trump's administration and people who want to bring him down, and the people in the EU who want to bring him down. So there's a lot of things going on right now. It's a really evolving thing. And again, I think that March 14th eclipse is going to be so important for all of this as a timing issue, because I think at the time of the eclipse, we may see either a week before, which would be around March 7th, or even in between the two eclipses. There's also that day of the spring equinox that is also a very pivotal date. So we've got the 7th of March, the 14th of March, the 21st of March, and the 29th of March, where things are really marching along, marching in March, where things are really moving along astrologically towards a conclusion that doesn't involve Mr. Trump being on top or Putin being on top. Now, in the past, we have the King of Wands. So this, I had said previously, is Macron. And Macron has been playing his part beautifully. He's still involved. This doesn't mean that he's, not going to be a part of the evolution. It just shows that his meetings that he had, was it only a week ago or so, or maybe 10 days ago, when he had those two meetings back to back with EU leaders in Paris. So key, so important. So Macron is a player and very, very important in this whole process. The EU at the top of the reading is having to defend what's going on. They're having to defend against, inwardly in some of their countries, they're having challenges by authoritarian or the very, very far right wing of politics in their country. So they're being challenged in their own homeland, but they are also defending the idea of democracy for the EU as a collective. So that's very interesting and very important to note that they are standing strong as proponents of democracy. Card in the future, the Moon. So there are things going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, and between this month is just going to be explosive, folks. It's just going to be so much that comes out and is revealed due to the astrological influences that are happening, but also these leaders. These leaders are changing the face of geopolitics. They are making sweeping changes to their own country's contributions to NATO, which influences the way that they build up their own arms and military. Some of these countries don't really have big militaries, but they will now. They will certainly put their best foot forward because none of them want to be taken over by Russia, and that is an imminent threat. So what are their fears? Oh, there's just so much money involved. And for Ukraine, they really hope that they have enough money to help Ukraine make the moves that it needs to make. So they are so worried about Ukraine, and they are so worried about the money that it's going to take. However, they are taking a very sovereign, benevolent approach towards this. In other words, they want to take care of Ukraine. They want to help Ukraine in every way that matters. So they're worried about the Ukrainians' children who are kidnapped. They're worried about their arms. They're worried about food for the people within the country. They're worried about keeping them safe and clothed and happy and healthy, because there are cities in Ukraine that are still basically kind of living normal life, people going to jobs. So the government still has to function in that regard as well as on a war footing. So it's a very complex situation in Ukraine. And I really believe Zelensky is like the only person on the planet who can really manage this ridiculous circus. What does the world see? Well, the world, or us, or everybody around, sees that this European Union is doing what's right. They are helping the less fortunate. They are definitely giving money and arms and doing what needs to be done. Or what are they hoping for? They're hoping to kind of starve out the authoritarian arm of this offensive. They're hoping they can starve out whatever's going on in Russia, and I don't mean just food. I mean, militarily, arms-wise, munition-wise, human resource-wise. They don't want Russia to be able to go forward. They also don't want the Russian people to suffer anymore. If you watch anything about what's going on in Russia right now, it's not pretty. It's not what Putin is putting out there. It's not what Tucker Carlson put out there in his little docudrama that he did. It's ugly. It's hard on the Russian people. It's a constant pressure of, who can I trust? What did I say that could get me arrested? Am I going to be conscripted to the army any second now? I mean, it's a very tense, very anxiety-ridden society right now. So they're not with Putin. They're not supportive of him. And at any moment, if they weren't so afraid of being poisoned, killed, knifed, conscripted, starved, they would rise up. But so they need liberation too, is what I'm saying. That country needs liberation too. So the final outcome card is the Four of Swords, which means that they are not going to be able to get to the U.S. with this package for some reason. And it's probably timing. It's probably that other things are going on, and these other things may involve the same group of EU leaders having to do something else pertaining to the Trump administration, I think. But that's not what the cards are saying. That's what my guides are saying. So it's a little bit there. That's not the question that I asked of the cards. The question that I asked of the cards was, will the EU coalition actually bring this to Trump, to the U.S., or Marco Rubio, or whoever, to bring it to the group that met in Riyadh, which had a representative from Putin, and so essentially they were talking to Putin. Will they be able to bring it to that group? And I'm saying, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be possible. And I think the reason it's not going to be possible is probably timing. There's going to be other things either get in the way, or it's too late to make that approach because something else has happened. So that's what I'm going to say with that. So I have another couple of readings, but I think I'm going to put them in another video. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching this, and I will see you soon. Bye.